What the hell was this crazy woman thinking? No matter how many times truck driver David sounded the horn, the woman would not move her luxury car. And she made it very clear that this was because she felt like she was a lot more important than a simple truck driver. But David was not just going to let this happen. He knew exactly how he would take sweet revenge on this horrible woman. David needed to get out of here quickly. He had drastically overslept and needed to hurry if he wanted to make his appointment. But when he got behind the wheel of his truck, he realized he was blocked in. What the hell was this car doing standing still there? There was clearly somebody moving inside the vehicle. When David saw this, he started sounding the horn several times. David thought that it was probably just a short stop to check something, and his honking would scare this person off. But instead of the vehicle moving, he got a middle finger from behind the window. Although, just being awake again, David was stunned and a bit offended. He rolled down the window and started to shout with his head out of the truck towards the car in front of him that the vehicle had to move away from that illegal spot at this instant. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and click the notification bell for more amazing stories. However, the driver was not planning on doing this at all. Now, the window of the small car came down as well. Davis could see the face of a young and angry-looking girl out of the car. And before they even had eye contact, she already began to shout that he needed to mind his own business and that she could do whatever she wanted. This last remark made David absolutely furious, slightly stressed that he wouldn't be able to deliver his cargo in time. The truck driver got out of his car and stormed towards the open window of the vehicle in front. He knocked on the roof of the girl's car, which finally allowed her to drop her phone to make eye contact. A discussion ensued that led to a quick realization on David's side as to what kind of woman he was dealing with. She was smug and had absolutely no respect for him from what he heard and saw. Although she did not say it to him directly, everything that came from the girl's mouth insinuated that she felt he was below her. Her father, apparently, if he wanted, could buy the whole company and have him on the street tomorrow. David needed to know his place in society. David was truly struck by all the words. He knew from television that this kind of person existed, but never had he encountered someone like this spoiled young girl in his real life. Only when David threatened to call the police on her to resolve things, she decided to move. As the car drove off, David was still vibrating from an assortment of curse words the young woman had been throwing at him. When he looked up from the wheel when he was back in the car, David saw her middle finger being raised high out of her window all the way until he couldn't see the vehicle anymore. Just before she had driven off completely, David quickly noted the number plate. This could be the end of things, although David would not let that be the case. This battle was to be continued, David decided. He really wanted to teach this obviously spoiled young and overly rich woman a lesson. Otherwise, people like her would never change. David rushed to deliver his truckload and once done, searched for the car's plate number on his laptop. The car was registered in the city, confirming his hunch. With his next job starting the following morning, he decided to act that evening. At his hotel, David devised his plan. Thanks to a friend in the police, he discovered the house linked to the car. Later that night, armed with a flashlight, he parked near the address, checked the mailbox, and noted the names. It appeared the girl lived with her parents, a detail he found advantageous for his plan. Returning to his hotel, David searched the girl's social media. Her posts painted a clear picture of her privileged lifestyle. The latest selfie featured her new car, a gift from her father, with David's truck in the background. Her caption mocked him. The truck driver behind me was honking like crazy. It's a free country, idiot. Maybe I'll ask Daddy to buy his company. The injustice angered David. He struggled to suppress his emotions, reminding himself to stay focused. He spent the night working on his plan. sacrificing sleep but ensuring every detail was in place. The next morning, David resumed his work, knowing he couldn't stick around to witness the outcome. The girl, oblivious to his actions, began her day as usual. She followed her morning routine, staying offline for the first few hours, unaware of the storm brewing online. When she finally picked up her phone, she was overwhelmed by the flood of messages and notifications. Her phone overheated and froze under the sheer volume. By then, the damage was done. At first, the girl was excited. She figured something she'd done had finally gone viral and started to get her attention from the internet. That was her dream. All she wanted was to be a famous influencer. She couldn't wait to find out what had caused everyone to start paying that much attention to her. The girl's wish had ended up coming true while she slept. Everyone was paying attention to her and messaging her for details about what was going on in her life. She'd gone viral all across the internet and social media, but it wasn't for the reasons she wanted or expected. Since her phone was still locked and wouldn't open, the rich girl grabbed her computer to log on that way and see what was going on. She fired up her laptop and started checking her social media accounts. She gasped out loud as she scrolled through her notifications and saw what people were saying. The girl's social media accounts were flooded with people calling her names or mocking her. Even her direct messages were full of strangers saying awful things. It wasn't just one account either. It seemed like people were targeting her everywhere she appeared online. Finally, she figured out the reason that she was going viral when she noticed that she was being tagged in the same post over and over. She quickly read through the message to see why she was being linked to it. When she saw the reason why, she felt sick to her stomach. Around the same time, David had been driving for hours and needed to take a break at a truck stop to rest and get some lunch. Plus, he was eager to know what was going on with his secret plan. He found a good place and pulled over. Once he was settled, he reached for his phone to check on the girl. David went to the rich girl's social media accounts to see what was happening. He couldn't believe it when he saw all the activity there. She was going to be famous in all the wrong ways. But just before he logged back out and went to get lunch, he noticed a notification that he hadn't been expecting. There was a message waiting in his inbox. David clicked on the notification and was surprised to see that someone had reached out to him directly. Most people who wanted to get in touch with him just called, knowing that he was often driving and unable to text. David had worked hard to make sure that his accounts couldn't be traced, but it looked like the rich girl had managed to track him down on social media. She'd sent him several messages, and it was obvious that she knew she had the right person. David wondered how she'd managed to find him. When David wrote his post, he'd sent it to different sites and chat boards around the internet. He hadn't actually tagged her directly or given her any hint that he was on social media at all. He figured that others online would spread the video of the rich girl around. David never expected her to find him. The rich girl knew everything there was to know about social media, so she'd been able to track him down almost immediately. No one else could have posted the video except David. When she found his accounts, she couldn't resist messaging him. But what was she going to say? In her messages, the girl asked David to remove the video before anyone else could see it. Even though she was asking for his help, she was clearly threatening him at the same time based on her tone. But once he'd failed to respond to her messages, she tried a different strategy instead. The girl seemed to think that David had the power to erase the video from the internet, but that wasn't the case. Once he'd posted it, other people had access to the video as well. They spread it all over the internet. There was nothing that David could do, but he did see one positive that would hopefully come out of the video. David hoped that the girl would remember the video as a lesson the next time she thought she was better than others, or above the rules of how others behave. When he saw how viral the video went, he couldn't help but laugh a little. the people who were sharing it had no idea how the video had been made. David's truck had a camera on the dashboard to protect him in case he was ever in an accident. That camera had captured the video of the rich girl. He hadn't even intended to record her, but once he had the video, he figured he might as well use it. The internet had played a role as well. The rich girl was visible enough on camera, and with the social media accounts that David had added, it was obviously her on the screen. The internet had done the rest by tracking her down on other accounts. David thought about her messages for a while before deciding what to do. David didn't reply to any of the rich girl's messages, but he kept an eye on her social media as time went on to see how the public was reacting. When she posted new content, no one had anything nice to say about it. It seemed like the internet wasn't going to let her off the hook so easily. The girl only had one choice left. Eventually, the rich girl stopped updating her accounts and making new posts. It was impossible to make content when all she got were negative comments. David hoped she'd find a better job and think harder about her actions in her new career. Binding bonds through beautiful tales. Thank you for watching.